All right, guys, this is none other than the Jordan Garber Now podcast. We got some news, and this time we have someone joining us, none other than the voice, Noah Garber. Noah, how
From
you
the
doing, man?
Sauce. Going good, going good. This is Noah G from the Sauce Wrestling Show. Want to do, I don't know, just take this opportunity to talk wrestling, but and do a little promotion here and there. Jordan, thank you so much for this invitation. I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, it's great. I'm doing good. It's a great Saturday. We got the return of uh, Big Ten football here in the state of Ohio. So we got to celebrate the Ohio State Buckeyes celebrating a big win. And yeah, also we had a great week in wrestling, and I know we're both anxious to get into that and talk the talk because we had an interesting week this week.
No, most definitely, we certainly did. And it does show that Rey Mysterio is expected to return to the WWE ring soon. Since
Yes.
2002, Rey Mysterio has been nothing but a great force in the WWE and has proven to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. But with him
Mhm.
returning to in-ring action, is it a good idea at his age, or is it a bad idea, or is it something that we're just overthinking altogether?
I think it might be something. I mean, obviously, he's talented in the ring, so much so that he's passing his knowledge of the ring onto his son, who is already, Dominic has already proved himself to be a, uh, a, a force to be reckoned with in the future as well. And I'm interested to see what happens with him. We've already started to experience some friction in the Mysterio family. Possibly even in the future, Dominic starts to step away from the shadow of his father and kind of do his own thing. But no, I've been a fan of Rey Mysterio ever since I started watching wrestling. I kind of thought it was a joke back in 2011, 2012. I don't remember what year it was when basically it was during the summer of Punk and CM Punk was the guy at that time, and he was the WWE champion. And they built the storyline around Punk leaving the WWE, so they had to crown a new champion. And what happened on Monday Night Raw? They crowned Rey Mysterio as the WWE champion, and that night he loses the title to John Cena. I think that was, that's just a brief memory of Rey Mysterio. And it's not because of his lack of talent. It's because the company doesn't take him as seriously as they ought to. Why? Because of his size. It's because Vince McMahon looks at short and small people as not underrated, but he undervalues them. Case in point, look at what they're doing with uh, what is his name? You know what I'm thinking about. He was on
Talking about
NXT. He was like the North American champion.
Velveteen Dream.
Ricochet. Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Look at what they're doing with Ricochet right now. Here's a really talented individual who is from the similar experience, I would say, as Rey Mysterio. Ricochet was from Lucha Underground, if I'm not mistaken, and has experience from around the world, just like Rey Mysterio. And Vince McMahon does not see him anything more than a mid-card talent. But with Rey Mysterio, I'll just end the topic of conversation about Rey Mysterio right here. Do I think he should be given one more world title run? Absolutely. Do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely not. And it's all because Vince McMahon, I think, is more and more each day becoming becoming more and more out of touch. I'm just gonna end it like that.
Let's talk about like short WWE runs. And you know what? There's this one guy who is in the UFC that came to the company a few years ago that I really thought could have had a good run at it, but he wasn't booked properly. And I feel like if they brought him in again, like he actually would pack a punch in. I'm sure you'd probably disagree. Most people would because it's an underdog prediction. But Cain Velasquez with a run such
Hmm.
a short time in WWE, like, do you think that was his fault or the company's fault?
I think that was again. If there was another story, if there was a good story that they could have booked him in, That's the thing that I think is lacking the most in WWE today, is good storytelling. They have 1 month spans because there's a pay-per-view every month, and then by the time the next month rolls around, it's a new opponent, new rivalry, and there's no storytelling whatsoever. The only exceptions to that rules we're seeing is uh, with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, an ongoing feud that spans multiple pay-per-views, or Dominic Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, ongoing story, ongoing pay-per-views. I think if they would have booked him in a credible story, and an ongoing story, he could have done something, long term. But I think they just brought him in for a short term. Also because Brock Lesnar, let's call a spade here, and it's Brock Lesnar with his the way he is in the WWE, which is when his contract expires, he just negotiates a new one for more money, and Vince has the brilliant idea to put the title on him each time. So I think they just brought him in strictly for Brock, strictly for Saudi Arabia, and just so that Kane could get some Saudi Arabia money. Why they never brought him back, I don't know. But to make a counter argument, it's not like they just hire these other athletes, such as former UFC guys or former athletes, and keep them from a short amount of time. Look what they're doing with Pat McAfee in NXT right now. I think what they're doing with him is absolutely brilliant, and he is has proven himself to be an incredible athlete. And he's also being involved in an amazing story with the Undisputed Era and the NXT. So I don't know. I think it's just a case of money, obviously, what the talent is willing to do and what the talent wants to do. So I think maybe with Kane, it was just like, I'll show up for one pay-per-view. I want to fight Brock Lesnar, and then I want to leave. If that's the story, then so be it. But I mean, I don't think that instance, and I rarely say this, I think that instance is not Vince's fault. I think it's more of what does the talent want to do. And I think that's just what he wanted to do, is just have a WWE match with Brock Lesnar.
Definitely, without a doubt. What do you think of the whole Fiend and Retribution feud right now going on? Do you think that's a step in
Oh
the right
man,
direction?
I
I
gotta tell
think
you,
I certainly agree.
I love it. I love, and shout out to Alexa Bliss. She's from her and I are from the same hometown. Shout out to Alexa Bliss. She's from the city of Columbus, Ohio, and I love her to death. And I just absolutely love what she's doing with her character right now. Love the alliance with the Fiend. With Retribution, I did not see that coming whatsoever with Ali being the leader. I think this brings more depth to his character. It brings more a new dynamic, a new new depth to his character. And I think, and people can go on and on about how Retribution is like the Nexus 2.0, or just poke fun at it or just shit on it every single day. But the way I see it is, they're taking a bunch of talent that they had no individual plans for, and they put them together in a group. I mean, and I think it's working so far. Long term, I don't know. We'll just have to see whether or not WWE decides to scrap Retribution or not. It's on them. I think they're starting to build some momentum, and I think only time will tell. But again, with the Fiend, oh man, Bray Wyatt is an incredible worker. His character work is brilliant. I think he's going to go down in history as one of the greatest performers, and I would say artists in professional wrestling, because what he's been able to do up to this point is incredible. And again, with Alexa Bliss, I mean, one of the greatest heels in the business, and on top of that, she's expanding and exploring what she can do and create and being creative at the same time. And on top of that, shout out to the Uncool podcast that she runs as well. I am a listener, and it's awesome. So, but yeah, I'm a fan and I love it, and I hope that they do not lose sight of what's important here, and that they keep this going for as long as they can, and they don't just scrap it after a month.
You say you're from Columbus, Ohio, and you know what? Columbus, Ohio is a really good market of Jordan Garber now. A lot of Ohio listeners. Now, is wrestling strong where Columbus is? Does it have a strong independent scene as well as a major league scene?
See, here's the thing. I hate to admit this, but I'm not so much in tune with the traveling independents in Ohio. I do know that Ohio was the birthplace of Ohio Valley Wrestling, OVW, which was the developmental scene of WWE prior to NXT. OVW was run by Paul Heyman at one point. He wrote the television shows for OVW for quite a while after his days in WWE, post his ECW days. So OVW was like the stomping grounds for all the not the independents, but it was for the developmental of WWE. And that's as far as I'm able to go, but I do know that Ohio has been the birthplace of a lot of great independent talents, and I'm going to plug one of my good friends here, the Bad Reed, Myron Reed. He is somebody who is traveling the country right now. He's currently MLW's world champion right now, and he's from Ohio. And a person who I will back till my dying day to make it into the mainstream, whether it be WWE or AEW, or wherever he wants to go. And he has my support 100%. So when it comes to the independents, I think a great talent can come from anywhere, but if they end up coming from Ohio, prime example, Alexa Bliss, if they come from anywhere, or I mean, not just Columbus, but Ohio in general, you have Alexa Bliss, you have Jon Moxley, you have The Miz, you have uh, Johnny Gargano. You have great talents that have come from this state. So I'm proud to live in a place that's produced so many mainstream talent, and not just mainstream, but up and coming talents as well. So, but yeah, I think a great talent can come from anywhere, but Ohio is definitely a good place to be and to bust your ass to make it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Definitely. Being from Ohio, like, what was your reaction when like Alexa Bliss made her debut?
Hmm. Here's the thing. I, I as I'm watching the events unfold on NXT, and she's getting the opportunity to show what she can do. Her run in NXT onto the main roster, the heel character that she has, making her debut. When you say debut, you mean her debut on the main roster or NXT?
Let's say both, the NXT and then the main roster. Were both
Well, in
reactions the same?
I would say I'll stick with the main roster. Here's somebody who really got the fans to hate her. She's one of the biggest heels in the company, and she's great at getting the fans to turn against her, and it's incredible. Um, but yeah, I would say that my reaction to that was, here's somebody who knows how to do the job right, and she has not proven me wrong since. And like I said, love her to death, huge fan, and especially of what she's doing right now. So no, it was I'm happy. And also that she's also has had championship runs underneath her belt. I mean, she cashed in it. Who else can say that they cashed in a Money in the Bank briefcase on Ronda Rousey? No one. So I would say that I'm proud and I'm happy of everything that she's done since her mainstream debut, her main roster debut, excuse me, and her work in NXT. It's a shame that she didn't get a run as NXT Women's Champion in NXT. Um, but it is to be said that she's one of the WWE's most best female workers, and people shit on her every day for not being like a technically gifted grappler in the ring, but her character work speaks for itself.
Some sometimes all you need is the crowd, and that's the thing
Right.
is a lot of people need is if you can entertain an audience and captivate, that's pretty much 90% of wrestling right there. And I'm not trying to cause haters or anything, but you know what? part of wrestling is, can you work the crowd? Can you get that crowd going? And whether
Exactly.
Bliss is a baby face or a heel, she does it both ways. I feel
Exactly.
she's really good at what she does. That's for sure.
I think I've always been told that the performer's bread and butter is their promos, and their bread and butter is also their character work. You can be fantastic in the ring, and here's where I return to my previous statement about Ricochet. He's amazing in the ring, very talented in the ring, but if you're not able to work the stick, as they like to refer it as, work the stick, and by stick I mean microphone. Um, if you're not able to work the stick and cut a good promo as well as have a good character, you're not going to get over. But at the same time, the fans are still going to rally behind him and be like, why are they treating him so poorly? Well, that's the reason why. So, but yeah, I think, I would agree with that 100%. I think that, in regards to cutting a good promo, for me, myself, here's the thing, and I like to think about this a lot. When it comes to professional wrestling, I don't see myself as a wrestler. If I were given the opportunity to be anything in the WWE, it's not somebody who strictly works behind the scenes or an employee or a writer. I will write. I'll write the scripts if you want me to. But if I'm going to do whatever I want, I'm going out there each and every week, and I am cutting promos, and I am talking trash to whoever gets in my way, because a I have a promo ready for everybody. So it's that's the way I like to look at things. To me, what convinces me is a good promo. What convinces me you're a star and that you're going to make it in the business is if you can get in that space, whether it's an interview segment or you're asking for a microphone and you can talk the talk and also walk the walk. Obviously, another prime example and something that I wanted to mention briefly, the work that they're doing with Roman Reigns right now.
Oh, that's
I know that,
amazing. They're going off
yeah,
script.
they're going. They're not just going off script, but
They
I think
created it on their
they're
own.
right. What they've been doing with him recently has been very surprising to me, but I'm also very happy that because now we're getting to see what Roman can really do. And he's come back after the hiatus that he was on for a long period of time, and he's proven all the haters wrong. And I'm loving every single second of it. Him working with Paul Heyman and and with the Usos as well. Kind of proclaiming himself to be the tribal chief of the family, and who's going to come knocking at his door come WrestleMania? His uncle, The Rock. That's a big prediction of mine, is that he's going to be facing The Rock at Mania.
Oh, that's a really good prediction, actually. That is something I could actually see happening in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, also speaking of people who have proven us wrong, I mean, I think also the run that they've been doing with Drew McIntyre recently. Him being the WWE champion right now, and he's been WWE champion since Mania, and he's been, basically
Great run
carrying
so
Monday.
far.
Yeah, pretty decent run. And considering, and this is coming from somebody who watched his first run in WWE, as the chosen one, Vince McMahon's chosen one, Intercontinental Champion, and you know, and then he goes off and joins 3MB, and then basically gets
Mid
let
card
go
status to
afterwards.
nothing.
Right, exactly. But goes on to the independents, gains more
ICW.
experience, and gains his physique, and his presence in the ring changes, and comes back as a true big man. And now he's like the ultimate baby face and the champion, and he's basically the carrying Monday Night Raw through
And he had a
this.
well, I don't mean to cut you off, Noah. But like he had a good run in NXT prior to that too, which was also
Yeah,
amazing too. Sorry to cut you
absolutely.
off there.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That too, which also brought us the birth of the Undisputed Era. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about that. And one of the greatest factions in WWE history. I think, and don't even get me started on that, because I have my own conspiracy theory at large right now as to what's happening with the Undisputed Era and Pat McAfee and all that. I don't know if you saw NXT this week, but I thought I would take the time to share that. What do you think's going? And I'll ask you. I'll flip the script. I know this is your show. Um, I'll flip the script. What do you think is going on now that Pat McAfee has made his return and he's been the one that's revealed as the one who's attacked? He basically attacked. He's the one that revealed himself to attack Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong. And what do you think they're doing with Pat McAfee in the Undisputed Era right now?
Well, right away, when you got someone attacking some of the top guys, you know that big things are coming and nothing's stopping that from happening. So I think with Pat McAfee, attacking, the top guys on the roster, what else does that show? It shows big plans and
Right.
it shows a surprise. But the question is, what is it going to be? And for that, you never know what it's going to be. But I could see it being a potential push to the main roster if this momentum keeps up.
But think about this though. So I agree with you. Think about this though. He attacks Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong. Who's the one and Adam Cole, baby, is nowhere to be found. Who's the one person he didn't attack? Kyle O'Reilly. He's the
Yeah.
one person that was left unharmed. To
I feel there could
me,
be a breakup here. That's what I
exactly.
feel.
Big ding 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 like ding 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 like it's a key like it's a key thing to identify. The one person that is not left like attacked and brutalized is Kyle O'Reilly. To me, there's too many red flags. To me, it sounds like Kyle O'Reilly is set to split apart from the Undisputed Era and join Pat McAfee. I mean, it's basically what they did with Seth Rollins and the Shield with Triple H and the Authority. Like I see like too many similar things happening here. And it just seems like this is a good thing to do storyline wise. So to me, that's what I think is going to happen. And I think that's what's going to happen in NXT, hence why NXT is the more superior show.
You know what? That's a really good way of putting it. It looks like you're one of those smart marks.
Right.
But you know it all, man. Like I said, when it comes down to that, like that's pretty good. That's a good prediction, and that takes a lot more logic than, to be honest, the basic prediction that I would come up with, and even on my Rob reviews, because a lot of my listeners know that I'm more of that interview guy. But now that I'm doing more news and doing it with guys like you that cover news mostly on your shows, it teaches me something and it opens my eyes, because for you guys doing those reviews, you're watching these shows every week, dedicating yourselves to watching that product. And I got to give you
Appreciate
credit for
that.
that too. Like it's
Appreciate that,
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
Question another I'll shoot another question at you. What are you thinking about this feud between Bailey and Sasha Banks?
I think it's going really good. Former best friends, classic scenario. Bailey and Sasha Banks, two of the both best right now in the world. Period. Charlotte Flair, obviously up there, is one of them too. But looking at those two, I think they're gonna have a great match. You know what? I Too bad it's not closer to WrestleMania, because that's something I'd
Yeah,
want to see at Mania for sure.
I agree with that. I personally, I don't think Bailey is going to come out of this one victorious because they've been pushing Sasha nonstop. And I think she's going to finally pick up a win in Hell in a Cell because she's 0-2 right now in Hell in a Cell matches. So I would say, Sasha's going to come out victorious. And I'll just call a spade here and say that the only reason why Bailey has been SmackDown Women's Champion for this long is because Charlotte is injured and Becky Lynch is pregnant with a baby. I'm being blunted to a point. I'm just calling a spade here. It's just because don't get me wrong, she's without a doubt talented, but if Becky Lynch if the man was still at the top of her game, at the top of her run right now, or Charlotte was running SmackDown, you would not see Bailey with 400. What is it? I don't know what the today as of today
It's pretty impressive
what the
reign.
run.
It is definitely over 400 days, I think.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it would be that long. It would have been as long as it is today if Charlotte and Bailey were involved. And also, let's not let's not forget this. Who made their triumphant return to the ring back in 2016 on Monday Night Raw? I'll see if I can get you to remember this. There was a fatal four-way match on Monday Night Raw between Mickie James. Let's see, it was Mickie James, Sasha Banks. I believe Alicia Fox was involved, and I do not know who the fourth person was, but one particular original from NXT made their return to the ring, and also two new people debuted alongside her on Monday Night Raw. I want to see if you know who I'm talking about, because I, without a doubt, I have this person's, I'm supporting this person until the day I die. So I'll see if you can think of who I'm talking about.
I don't know. Trish Stratus made a few returns in the past.
Nope. It's Paige.
Oh wow, yeah, that's a good prediction.
When Paige made a return back in 2016, man, that was
She
one of the
got a good
moments that
pop. She's a good
she had a
worker.
great pop, living legend in the industry. That woman deserves to be in the Hall of Fame right now, because she was the only woman in history to hold both the NXT Women's Championship and the Divas Championship at the same time, multiple time Divas champion. Should have had, a longer career in ring, and hopefully, just by some miracle, her neck heals and she's able to make a return if she wants to. But also one of the, will go down in history as probably the greatest SmackDown general manager of all time. She's obviously a genius. And what other woman in professional wrestling history can say that there's a movie made based off their life? No one.
No one.
So I think she's a living legend, and she deserves that Hall of Fame ring. And I will go on. That will be, if I could pick my hill to die on, that would be it. And I will back that opinion to the hilt. So, but anyway, no. I think we have Hell in a Cell upcoming tomorrow. Going back to the topic of Sasha Banks and Bailey, we have a pretty hellacious upcoming match, this weekend, and it's gonna be pretty exciting. So yeah, I just wanted to see your thoughts on that, because Sasha Banks and Bailey are really turning up the heat.
No, no doubt about that. I'm glad I was able to give my perspectives on that, because I don't think I would have brought that up. And why is because I'm so into the big picture, but the little things when it comes to feuds like that, more people need to recognize that, because that is a big thing.
Right.
Are you been following AEW? Before we wrap things up, just want you to recap Dynamite, and then we're pretty much done.
Lit. So in regards to Dynamite, we had in what is regarded to one of the greatest segments of all time with MJF and Chris Jericho, with that steak dinner turned musical. I'll be honest, I was covering NXT that night, so I was unable to capsulate the entire show, but I did go back and see that segment, and it has a lot of people buzzing. And it's been regarded by Chris Jericho as the greatest moment in professional wrestling history, is that segment between him and MJF. And I have no doubt, I do disagree with him on that segment. I mean, I would say the greatest segment in professional wrestling history is when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove a Miller Lite truck out to the ring and hosed down Vince McMahon, The Rock,
Oh man,
and
that was
Shane.
amazing.
Right.
That was
Exactly.
amazing.
But in regards to AEW, the most over talent hasn't lost any momentum whatsoever, and that star without a doubt is Orange Cassidy. He, in my opinion, should be. I'd say if Cody Rhodes is going to drop the TNT Championship to anybody, it should be Orange Cassidy. Or if Jon Moxley is going to drop the world title to anybody, it should be Orange Cassidy, because he's the most over star in their company right now.
Most improved, in my opinion.
Most improved as well. I agree. On top of that, we have former WWE Tag Team Champions, as well as now the current AEW Tag Team Champions in the form of FTR, formerly known as The Revival. as their tag team championships or tag team champions going up against the Young Bucks. And I don't remember if it's like a fatal four-way tag or something like that, what we have upcoming, but they're definitely building up this feud in regards to, the tag team division. And the tag team division, in my opinion, is taken way more seriously over in AEW than it is in WWE. Just because of the fact that they give more time to their tag team division and they're building more of a story, which brings us back to storytelling over at AEW than WWE. The tag team division is taken way more seriously over there. Get case in point, who are they putting the titles on? The greatest tag team, and they're having a match that we've been wanting to see for so long. With FTR and with the Young Bucks. But yeah, in regards to what exactly happened on Dynamite this week, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna miss a few things are gonna fall through the cracks. But those are the things that are catching my attention right now. Jon Moxley is doing an incredible job as world champion. You have Cody, who is holding the TNT championship for as long as he has, and then you have FTR with the tag titles. That is, those are the things that we need to be paying the most attention to. And those are the things that Tony Khan himself will be paying attention the most to. So yeah, that's all I got to say about Dynamite.
Pretty much. That's awesome. That's gonna wrap it up for news. But man, Noah, thanks for being on, and we want to have you on again very, very soon.
Hell yeah. I appreciate it, dude.